Hello, I'm back for another video. My name is Josh Castic, and today is my Top Gun Maverick non-spoiler review. So if you have not seen this movie yet, you don't have to worry about spoilers, because I won't be talking about them. Now, let's get into my thoughts in the film. But before I do that, before going to see this movie, I haven't actually saw the first Top Gun movie. And so literally the day I went to go see Top Gun Maverick, in the morning I saw the first one. So that's like moments before going to watch the second one. And originally, the reason why I went to go see this movie is because my dad really wanted to go see this movie. And obviously that's kind of a thing we do. We watch TV and watch movies together. And as a person who is studying to become a film director, it's really good for me to go see films like this. And so obviously, but I didn't want to go watch this movie without watching the first one. And so that's what I did. I watched the first one and then I watched the second one. And I have to say, the second film, Top Gun Maverick, is a much better written film than the first one. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the first one. I think it is a really fun and cool movie, and I think it's still good. It's just there's certain elements that I don't think makes kind of hurts the writing a little bit. Where this one I think is written really well. I think one of the biggest problems of the first one is that the love interest for our main character Maverick. I don't think they had this chemistry. I don't think the chemistry was really well done here. I just don't think that was pulled off. And that's kind of one thing that hurts the film. And there's some other ones, but overall I still enjoyed that one. But this, like I said, is much better written. I think I just don't see how else you could make this film. I think they hit all the heartwarming moments that makes sense. If you go from the first one to the second one, I just don't see any other way to make this film. I mean, there might be other elements within the film that you could probably change up, but the way certain elements in the film you just have to have for this type of sequel to the first one. And I think they pulled that all off really well. I enjoyed, and for the characters, I enjoyed all the characters in this film. Obviously Tom Cruise, returning to his role as Maverick. And I think he played the character well. He played it the way I don't think there's no, he's not he doesn't feel like a totally different character from the first one. And it feels like the same character, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have character development in this film. He does have character development. He learns and grows, and I think they pulled that all really well with the character. I think and for what they did with the writing, the way they did the story for his character, I think they did his development really well. And other characters, I enjoyed all the other characters. I think they, for what they did in the film, the actors played the characters the way they were written and the way, they're supposed to be. And I think they all fit within the story the way they should have. And I think they did that really well as well. I'm glad they brought back, Tom Cruise as Maverick, but I really wish some other characters from the first movie reprised their roles. But unfortunately, the studio wasn't having it. They only wanted Maverick. They didn't want anyone else. And Val Kilmer, who played Ice in the first one, begged to come back, and they let him back in. But I'm not sure if I really like how his character was portrayed in this film. But in the context of the story, the way they made his character makes perfectly sense for the film and the story, and what actually helps make the story good. So and even though I don't like what they did with this character, at the same time, it makes sense to make the story as good as it is. So I can't really complain. And what else is there? So the action sequences. The action sequences were like really good. I mean, you're talking about fighter jets here. I mean, you got F-18s. Unfortunately, obviously, this since this movie takes place years after the first one, obviously the technology has grown in there. So, the first one you had F-14s, and this one you have F-18s. And then they talked about how F-14s are obsolete, which really annoys me because my favorite plane is the F-14. Like, I think they're even cooler than the F-18. That's just my opinion, but it is what it is, and you have to use what the technology is now and not use outdated technology, unfortunately. But yeah, I think those were really well done. It's cool that they didn't really use a lot of CGI. A lot of those flying was real, and that was pretty cool. They actually trained the actors to do that. Although I think for some of the intense action scenes and other things, I think they would have definitely probably used some CGI, but not like a lot. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Now there's one thing that I didn't like besides the whole thing with ice or whatever, but that will be a spoiler, and I'm not going to go into that at all. And then finally, I'm glad that they brought back the theme song, Danger Zone. That was the theme song for the first movie, and I'm glad that they brought it back in the beginning of the film. I wish there was more of the song in this film, but it is perfect. Like, it perfectly opens up the film with nostalgia if you saw the first one, and I'm glad that they brought that back. Because it's a really cool song that, I recently heard it, from those first, 2 movies watching one day, and I had to get the song for myself, so I do now. It's on my computer and on my MP3 player, so now I do have that song. So other than that, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this film, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for my next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.